Welcome back to the 1951 Gasmea Rally. I apologize for the AI slop voiceover as my microphone just would not cooperate with Canva. I wanted this event to emulate early road races in the United States, or pretty much the style of racing that evolved into what we know today as NASCAR. Before NASCAR was formed, there was no unified set of regulations concerning automobile racing in the United States. Those pre-NASCAR events ran shortly after the fall of Prohibition, and used heavily modified vehicles. As per the Wikipedia article on NASCAR, when NASCAR was first formed in 1948 to regulate stock car racing in the US, there was a requirement that any car entered be made entirely of parts available to the general public through automobile dealers. Furthermore, the car models were required to have sold over 500 units to the public. This is referred to as homologation, which other racing series has since adapted for their own rule sets. In NASCAR's early years, the cars were so stock that it was commonplace for the drivers to drive themselves to the competitions in the car that they were going to run in the race. While automobile engine technology had remained fairly stagnant in World War II, advanced aircraft piston engine development had provided a great deal of available data, and NASCAR was formed just as some of the improved technology was about to become available in production cars. Until the advent of the Trans Am series in 1967, NASCAR homologation cars were the closest thing that the public could buy that was actually very similar to the cars that were winning national races. With all of that out of the way, let's get to the competitive aesthetics. 28/40ths. Detailed interior. Everything is well put together. Livery is pretty snazzy. I really gotta get better with my own liveries to match this level of talent in modern day automation. The front bumper, however, is odd looking and could use some detailing and resizing. Morphs are pretty good as far as the limitations of the vanilla 47 unlock sedan body go. Design is well laid out but could use some more detailing and trim work on the sides. Grille looks weird and unfitting. Two-door sedans are so cool looking and I love the vibe this body shape gives off, although the overall design layout is perhaps more 1953 or 1954 than 1951. Other than the grille, the front fascia is well put together and flows well with the body lines. The whole build could use a bit more in the way of body molding. Overall, not bad at all for a newcomer to my challenges. Engineering priorities. 10/20ths. There are a lot of things I simply am not high IQ enough to understand about this car. Engineering. Solid front axles with leaf springs? Is this some kind of pre-war chassis holdover? Front solid axles weren't unheard of at the time, and even saw use in some early Toyotas. But they were quickly going out of fashion by 1951 in favor of step-down construction with double wishbone construction, or max if you're weird like Euro Ford was. At 71 horsepower out of its 2L 4-cylinder, top-end power and performance is certainly lacking for this round, and I am even more confused by the level of engine stress that this car seems to have, both RPM related as well as from valve float. I really hope this isn't some weird export glitch I have discovered. I am rather perplexed by the complete lack of quality sliders all throughout the build. And at just over $9,000, it's not like you didn't have room to breathe. They would certainly help a bit with the car's engine stress, as well as lowering the car's max RPM would. Predictably, reliability is the absolute worst of the group at a staggering 33.5. The rest of the detail stats aren't much better. Illegal tire compound, rally. Had to change it myself to utility compound. The suspension tuning isn't the best. Too stiff sway bars, and not stiff enough springs and dampers. The off-road score is the best, 22, which might have helped if there wasn't so much wrong with the car already. I apologize for being too harsh here, but yeah. Lowest sportiness, 4, due to aforementioned issues with the tuner aesthetics, 32/40ths. I am in the awkward position of having to judge my own car again, but I guess that's what tends to happen when you get almost no submissions to challenges like I do. My take on this round was a bit of a Frankenstein monster between a Humber Super Snipe and Nash Statesman, and as such it predictably looks halfway British and halfway American. I made the roof, bonnet and fender paint slots transparent and added my own with 3D fixtures. However, like with many 3D fixture builds, the roof lines up rather unevenly with the body, in a way that can be hidden in pictures, but looks sloppy up close. For this I am deducting 3 points for my own score. Another 3 points will be taken off for another somewhat visible hole in the bodywork between the fender, hood and door. I'm trying to get better with smoothing out my 3D builds, but I feel like I let myself down here. Last but not least, I will take 2 points off for the bumpers looking a bit anachronistic in mid-50s, than the styled right after the war vibe the rest of the car gives off. Engineering priorities, 13/20ths. I am docking myself 5 points because I had to abuse the advanced trim settings for wheelbase, far more than I am usually comfortable with for auto-beam challenges. The engine is a massive 4.3L 600 pounds all-iron straight 6, with a forged steel crankshaft to deal with the torque stress. Overall, quite a low-down torque monster but a bit lacking up top, having the second lowest HP, 136, quite lightweight at 2,488 pounds. Another point will be deduced for my use of +7 quality on the engine family, which I feel is a bit cheesy. Otherwise I feel like I nailed most of the priorities. My car has the highest reliability, 57, highest drivability, 46, highest practicality, 60, and highest comfort, 16, making it very good as a livable daily driver. I will take off another point for the poor utility though, 6. Tied for second lowest sportiness, 5. Due to the slightly tuned for understeer suspension settings. Aesthetics, 36/40ths. Let me start by saying that I really enjoy how you've found a theme to roll with styling-wise with your Type-in builds as of late, and really created a design language of sorts with it. Overall, I like the post-war GM energy this thing exudes. I still don't know why the hell you thought putting 0.75 flake on the paint of a car from this era was a good idea. Side vents and tail fins seem to do their job here, adding a little bit of flair to the side trim is done well. Bumpers are likewise well detailed. Livery is just a number on the side, so simple but functional. Some nice chrome accents and ornament work. The interior is likewise simple but functional. Details where they need to be without too much clutter. Engineering priorities, 14/20ths. The engine is well tuned, basically a 1953 Buick Nailhead 322 replica, 2 years too early. Most powerful, at 207 horsepower, thanks to having the biggest engine, at a 5.3L V8. Heaviest car of the bunch at 3,335 pounds. Maybe this is one of those cases where, as Jay Leno often says, road-hugging weight takes over. Double wishbones up front, and coil springs at the back make it well suited to rallying and spirited driving. Low drivability, 27, makes it perhaps not the best daily, but in fairness, automation's drivability and sportiness logic sometimes don't make sense at all. However, this car does seem to terminally oversteer at the limit in the current Al-Rilma Open Beta, which is less than ideal no matter how you look at it. You could have solved this by adding in some substantial front toe like I tend to do. Balanced suspension tune, otherwise I like it. The brake tuning is honestly pretty solid, but I would add in a bit of brake airflow to kick fade down a little bit. Decent sportiness, 7, but low off-road, 8, mean it may perform better in the road rallies than anything too rough and tumble off-road. Best prestige, 35, second best comfort, 14, worst MPG, 11, mean this car is better suited for rich Gasmeans, just like its IRL counterpart in Buick was a near-luxury brand in the 1950s. Middle-of-the-road stats otherwise, not great, not bad either. Aesthetics, 40/40ths. Wow, I am actually in shock at how you've gotten this good at design, but congrats. The fixtures work so well together and make for a really handsome, well-proportioned, realistic, and all-around superb-looking build. Some great first-generation Oldsmobile Super 88 inspired touches all around. Grille and bumper bar work is truly phenomenal, again lots of Olds influence there. Interior isn't super detailed, but what's there is functional. Livery and badging are extremely creative. I dig the overall theme. Overall, nothing to complain about. 4 points. Engineering priorities, 12/20ths. Max struts are a bit weird, but I know Ford had them in their large cars as early as 1949 if memory serves me right. This is coupled to a coil-sprung setup at the rear, which combined with Double Trouble's past history of ratio only at Jordania's Autobeam challenges, makes me think this is going to be one of the best handling cars around both tracks. What I don't think would be realistic in this segment at the time is full forged internals on the engine. Second worst reliability, 46. Second heaviest car at 2,631 pounds results in the car being tied for second lowest sportiness, 5. Very cheap compared to the rest. Second most power at 196 horsepower thanks to the engine being a very spot on 1949 Oldsmobile Rocket V8 replica. 4-speed manual is a bit strange in this class. I'd let it go if it was some kind of trick 4-speed with overdrive. Alas, it is the basic mode setup. Aesthetics, 38/40ths. A rally trim of a utility sedan is a novel concept, but you pulled it off like few others could. Well done on the styling front. Just about every angle of this car is packed with detail. The livery is similarly very well executed and realistic looking for the time period. Overall, the car has a lot of Hudson Hornet-like styling features, and that's one of my favorite cars, so this car won me over too. I legitimately can't find anything negative to say about the design, other than the interior being a bit sloppy, and not having any floor or center tunnel covering engineering priorities, 16/20ths. Second best drivability, 42, highest sportiness, 12. Make it a driver's car compared to the rest, at first glance. Second smallest engine at 3.9 L. Partial monocoque is very cool to see, and I'm glad we have it in automation at the start of the game now. Double wishbone front with coils rear is pretty much what GM used at the time, so good going there. The engine is apparently a fake flathead design, which I find awesome having made so many of them in the game myself. It does rev to 5,500 revolutions per minute however, which is hilariously the highest in the challenge. 4-speed manual is a bit strange in this class. I'd let it go if it was some kind of trick 4-speed with overdrive. Alas, it is the basic mode setup. I also don't think the full forged internals are real. These are the final results. Thanks for watching.